going back, years, but we have to start at a point, and that is 2017 to date. We have noticed allocations of land to public officials, families of public officials, other individuals connected with public officials, and that is unfair and it is unjust. As to the justification of these allocations, and the state has not provided any to that effect. And so we, as concerned citizens, feel that we have to hold our state to account, so that we have raised this petition to ask the National Assembly, which has to look at this issue to ensure that state lands are well managed, and those who are been given to citizens legitimately, legally deserve it, and they have it in the right manner, in the appropriate way. That is good for all of us, because otherwise, what would happen is we will see state lands being given to people who do not deserve it. Land is a major source of conflict in many societies. So we feel we need to do this as citizens for the peace and stability of the Gambia, for the good governance of the Gambia, and bearing in mind that while the state is giving lands to individuals, okay, we have seen state institutions renting. You have ministries renting. You have government departments renting in private properties. You have government agencies renting in private properties. And you wonder, why would we, state institutions, let's say a ministry like the Ministry of Interior, the ministry responsible for internal affairs, for home affairs, and in its own home, it is rented in a private place. That's a contradiction. So it means the government is not prioritizing a public interest, because the money that would be used to rent these properties could have been used to build a massive office space somewhere where state agencies, departments, ministries could occupy without any cost to Gambians. So all of these are issues that concern us, and above all, we have to highlight the fact that we have seen the Minister for Lands, Mr. Hamad Ban, and by law, the president doesn't qualify to get state land. But apart from that, land that is already allocated for a state official, as the Chief Justice, cannot now be taken away from that allocation to be given to somebody else for private purposes. All right. So all of these are factors that raise the issue that indeed the issue of land commission, how public officials, particularly the president, the former president Jame, has arrogated to himself hundreds of pieces of land across this country. And that has been a cause of tension in many communities, in many families, in the way and manner those lands are obtained. And if you know a land commission, till now, land issues, we see how they erupt within our communities across the country. And so, as a time, this is the time to go and address this land issue, and within the broader framework of making sure that Gambia government upholds the rule of law. Gambia government protects public interests, to ensure that there is transparency in the way decisions are made, in the way public resources are managed or distributed in any way. That transparency has to take place. We cannot continue like this. And so we have come here to do that. So that Ninsafono coming Manuel Mele Maninga Kaumoi, and then most of our members here in Jambi, Babu Karnyang and Omar Kamara and Defa Madi Jabate, na petition lesafe, all right, na ki Deputy Bunto National Assembly, kanyin karoke state lands, kenol mealon ka be mansakundala mararolo kono, i mealon ko kedi banko dinula, kafola, bundala, bisesol banko kan, ka ko lankenama, ka ko ka kontibo. Ha. Nga nyin load lata bari na worto bari isita fo nzafo na independent bari ndel nga ko dati kabrin 2017 fombe bi tilomento a banko la keno membe banko la masakunda bulu ya talan mol temale meralan ko dolbe je imanyan na kasoto yaje ko mi mantani luala a luwaye kumel landi tunkul mel landi comme menyanta nan la mo you know yeke moti menyanta keno sotonna is have me requirements e mo soton comme ye landi mo la man ko lande bulu fo pare comme minister or right quarter because keno mu ku balet keno aka fitino sabu and ñing gambia keno gambe bele dentala so kono membe dandin na mararin na masakunda bulu ni bo keno dila momondi na nyande kala monati o kafleti o bundaleti nalon ko a jaretere yaston coming itimmatale luwala karoto bang tiliwnin to nyala karoto bang hadama ala karoto nyawnyanni imari timmatale pour yoso so wala din ko ndel banko dingul nga nyantole soton wargono bembulu kaje ko masakundala kijol melke aka decision melta aka sinol melta isinol be larini luwaka wajinin karo nga already di national assembly la and be jikring na petition jibe be d'accord la be sonna nga metan do petition to so that ye nyinin karo men ko yake be wulla yo tamande so ngamira nsafo babkar fana yo satani wolof ha okay
jërëjëf Madi comme nu ko Madi waxee rek ñun ñett ñi toog nii muy man Baboucarr Niang moom Madi Jobaate ak Omar Camara dañ binda bataaxal muy lettre bu nga xam ne dañ ko yónnee néegi député yi pour lu tax ñu yónnee ko néegi député yi mooy ñun dañ nekk ay Gambien yu nga xam ne dañ foog ne Gambie dañ ko war a doxalee si lu ñuy wax démocratie not only démocratie waaye accountability mooy tam nit ku nekk lu nga xam ne ni yow yaa ko def te ñu ngi la teg si place bu nga xam ne ni place su liggéeyukaay yi nit ñi Gambien yi la nga war a mun a fayeeku wala nga war a mun a laajte ñu war laa mun a laajte suñ la laajtee dara si sa liggéey di nga ko war a mun a xam wala si pétition bi luñ see wax mooy dañ bugg a pour néegi député yi ñoom ñu ngi am kuréel bu nga xam ne mooy seetlu nit ñi seen naxar bu nga xam ne am nañ ko te yónnee leen ko naka la si gars yi di mun a seetee pàkka yu nga xam ne ñu ngi koy joxe muy laan yu nga xam ne ñu ngi koy jox nit ñu nga xam ne ñoo nekkoon si government mu nekk si nguur nekk si agency nguur wala nekk si béréb bu nga xam ne ni si mbootaayu nguur la nekk wala ay nit ñu nga xam ne ñu ngi fa wala ñu nga xam ne sax dañ nekk di def ay business ñuy ay business man so suñ pétition bi lu moo laajte mooy na National Assembly bi def enquête boobu seet naka lañ joxee ñooñu laan yooyu noonu naka lañ joxee ñooñu pàkk yooyu noonu xam ndax bu ñu leen koy jox jaar na yoon ndax bu ñu leen koy jox topp nañ loi yu nga xam ne ak sarta yu nga xam ne moom la constitution yi réew mi moom la acte boobu ñuy wax ñu muy state land act ak yooyu noonu yëpp ñu tëral si réew mi topp leneen lu ñu si teg tamit mooy ñu gis ne laan moo indi fitna yu bari si yeneen réew yi te ñu gis ne pour Gambie réewi Gambie mu nekk si jàmma mbiri laan dañ si war a taxaw léegi nii ñu xam ne naka lañ ko joxee ak naka la ñoo taxawee ba meeg soo ne laan bi jox nañ ko ku ko yelloo ñu joxe misaal ne su fekkee ne comme ne yow am nga sa liggéey am nga place bu gën a mag si place bi muy ku si nekk ni président wala ku si nekk ni vice président wala ku si nekk ni nga xam ne ay ministres lañ wala ñu nekk si néegi député yi nga leen di jox laan te ñooñu yelloowuñ laan mel na ni yaa ngi xañ laan bi wala yaa ngi xañ pàkk bi ku nga xam ne ni moom mënoon na koo am so pour ñu bañ a dégg si jafe-jafe yooyu noonu ba pare taxaw gis ne Gambia nekk na réew mu nga xam ne ñu ngi koy doxali am bu am sarta moo tax ñun ñu yónnee pétition bi pour wax ne pétition bi dafa war a taxaw pour ñu xam ne dëgg-dëgg ak laan wala pàkka yi nuñ koy joxee si réew mi jaar na yoon maa di joxe na fi misaal mu ne su fekkee ne comme like réew mi muy nguur gi nu mu war a doxalee affaire yi laan mooy ku nekk mu am laan néewatina si agency yi wala département wala sax ministère yu nga xam ne ni ñoom ñoo saytu wàlli doxali ni réew mi amuñ ay laan waaye dañ nekk di luwaas laan ba pare nguur gi di jël ay laan yooyu noonu ñu instead pour ñu jox ko ministre tabaxal leen fa defal leen fa fu nga xam ne dëkkuwaay lañ ñooñ dañ nekk di luwaas boobu noonu muy génnee si poosi nit ñi ñuy fay te fekk ñu ngi am laan yu nga xam ne waroon lañ leen koo mën a defal so kon si gàttal pétition bi loolu la muy saytu pour wan National Assembly bu nga xam ne moom moo amee doole pour ñooñu nga xam ne ni ñoom ñoo saytu mbiri pàkk yii nii ñu joxe si diggante buñ tudd pour ñu leen ñu ñëw ñoom tamit laan yi wala pàkk yu ñu leen jox nu ñu leen ko joxee jaar na yoon wala noonu la ko sartay réew mi tëralee tam so loolu moo nekkoon suñu wax si gàttal si mbiri si làkku kalama olof
All right, thank you very much, Madi and Babukar, for that rundown in the local languages. Before we close, probably we're going to open for the press to ask questions. If you have any clarification, as Babukar took us through the details in our petition, so we'll open the floor. If you have any questions, you could ask questions for clarifications, and then we move forward. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Laura Balde. I work for the Department of Thanks for the opportunity. We've submitted and made several recommendations in areas that we want the National Assembly Public Petition Committee to launch inquiry into. And you give out names of individuals in senior rankings within the government sector. My question is, are you optimistic? Because this is not the first protesting against injustice, against things they believe is injustice. Are you optimistic that the government and the National Assembly, especially the National Assembly, will take your petition very serious and look into this matter?
Yes. So quickly to answer that question, we expect the government of the Gambia to take every concern of the citizens seriously, and then this one cannot be treated exceptional. And then for us, we believe that this is one of the most serious issues right now in this country. Looking at our land allocation, looking at state lands, and looking at all what we have said here. Madi have talked about it, that we have government state departments that are renting, and we have citizens, ordinary Gambian citizens, poor citizens, that housing is a problem. I think this petition is going to raise an alert, and then the government should take this opportunity to be serious with these investigations and ensure that we get, but also to clear themselves. We have seen the opposition, the president himself, state ministers, the accusations are too much. So for them to clarify themselves and then be on the spot of accountability, they should treat this petition not just with seriousness but with urgency as well. So I'll allow my colleagues to add on to that.
Yeah, well, I think the petition is submitted to the National Assembly, and we, as people mandated with this power, with this responsibility, they will live up to it. Of course, a petition, as we said in the petition, and just Omar has said, this petition did not come out of the blue. It came from genuine concerns. You will recall sometime 22 or so, there was a listed a number of ministers, some current ministers, some former ministers. And I was one person in particular who raised that issue and challenged the Minister of Lands at that time, Mr. Musa Drame. And until today, he has not called me to court. I'm waiting for that to go to court with him. But we feel as responsible citizens, we have many opportunities to ensure accountability, to hold those in power to account. And the National Assembly petitions process is one of those opportunities. All Gambians to also take advantage of this mechanism to deal with other issues in the country. So, as I said, we've done our best to meet the requirements of a petition. And we have all the reason to be hopeful that the National Assembly will not dismiss it and will take it. So that is why we start.
Yeah, that's fine.
Someone,
In where your petition is not considered, what are the other?
yes, so there are many mechanisms for accountability in this country. And accept our petition, and we will leave it at that. But of course, we have an information commission that is established in this country. We also have that right as citizens to submit to relevant state agencies as part of the Access to Information Act to demand them to give this information we are requesting. All right. The reason we are submitting to National Assembly and not first to Information Commission, because we want the national and just writing to an institution on the basis of the Access to Information Act can just give you some information that may not have the full details, okay, and so on. But apart from that, the courts are there. We can also go to court. That's also an option that if we feel the laws are being violated by public institutions, by the Minister of Lands in the way they allocated lands, or to certain individuals in the way they were allocated state lands, we can go to court to challenge them. So we have all means, a lot of means to deal with this. But as responsible citizens, we are taking one avenue after after other.
The allocation of state lands to state and non-state officials, including other organizations. Do you have a time frame in your petition as to which you seek the public petition committee to act and establish this commission? Because we are almost approaching the next election in few years now.
Not
particularly.
no. So I mean, there is a public petitions committee at the National Assembly. They receive petitions and they review. I think it is up to their schedule. So it has nothing to do with the elections. We'll always have the National Assembly. So we hope they are going to give it the urgency it deserves. But we have no time frame. They are just submitted to the petition committee and to National Assembly, to the petition committee, and I'm sure they will apply their processes, and we will wait to hear from them.
I mean, understanding how institutions work, they might see this petition and accept it, but not act. Are you not concerned that this will push the next decade?
Yeah, so I think for us, we will call on them. The time frame is going to be that this petition should be treated with urgency, and we will stop it at that for now. But it's also important, like
hello. Are you getting
that they have
me?
an oversight body, and this is one of them. So today is one way flagging their own responsibility to hold executive and other public officials to account. So we don't give them time frame. We cannot condition them on time frame, but we can tell them that they should take this petition with seriousness and urgency. For now.
Yeah, again, to follow up on that, to respond on that, I think we also have the right, for example, like what Madi was saying, we have the Information Act that we have, and we also have the courts which are here. But like to say that we're giving them up to December, up to January, or up to next year, that we can determine now, but we'll give the benefit of the doubt. But again, we
hello.
To materialize.
Hello. Are you getting me?
What are the next steps you would like
Regular. Mali, I'm the charge.
they don't have
Okay. Yeah. So for me, the next step will be like, for instance, like Madi said clearly, we have the courts, and then as responsible citizens, again, it is our responsibility to take any step that is legally accepted in a democratic and functioning democracy. And for instance, if the recommendations are made, we will now follow up with the courts to see those recommendations are implemented. If, for example, the recommendation, for instance, is to ask those public officials to return the land to the state, we will also have monitoring mechanism to ensure that those lands that are in questions are returned, and we see that they are definitely returned back to the people, the government that put it through the Ministry of Lands and Local Government. Again, also, these processes might take long, which we are very patient with, and we will definitely understand going through all the phases. But again, any information that is required to get this, to ensure that the Gambian citizens who are asking questions about the land being given to privileged people, being given to people who already have access and privileges of land being questioned, will make sure we go to the bottom of the ladder in ensuring that is done.
you know, these all things are interrelated to the national assembly itself. They've been allocated land. We've seen CSOs trying to make sure that those they follow due process. So they could find from this election that is far with this. But if they want to come up with, of course, I know you trust you will find it. You want to try to is there any further particular attempt that you wanted to receive an independent body. Of course, we know that there should be more independent body than the National Assembly. But in case that you're not satisfied with that, you have another independent body in mind to try to do this that you believe will come to the result.
Yeah, so I think Babda has laid it out well. But just to say, this petition may have been submitted by the three of us. But I want to believe this petition is the Gambian people's petition. That every Gambian citizen who is concerned about the good governance of the Gambia, about transparency and accountability, about the management of public resources, takes this as your personal petition and interest, and so get involved. So that when this thing goes through a process in the National Assembly, until they reach a point now they made recommendations. The National Assembly, when they make recommendations or let's say take decisions on the floor of the Parliament, the executive is bound by law to implement those decisions. Failure to do so would and you do. It is also the National Assembly to know that they have made decisions and ensure that their decisions are enforced by the executive. And if they fail to do, to hold the executive accountable. The National Assembly has those tools. But we can also organize civil disobedience to tell the people to protest until government implements those recommendations. That also is an option that we have. As he said, we have many legal, non-violent, peaceful, democratic means to employ. We can name and shame them, all right, and so on. So in any case, we are not going to relent until we see justice is done. And we do not think this is a matter for three of us, but we think this is a matter for all Gambians. Yes, all Gambians.
To that extent now, National Assembly comes up with their findings that they found nothing, like they found everything to be, lawful. What happens then? Because you believe some of this land are not allocated. Right? What happens then? Because it's a possibility. And that's how the Assembly will come up and say, okay, we are okay with your procedure.
Yes, yes. So I think for us, our business is not whether it's going to be finding that they acquire the land. That's what we want. All we want is transparency and accountability. There are laws in the current state lands, and we want to make sure that the due process is followed in all the land allocation. So if we found out that we know that the government has done right in allocating lands, and then otherwise we ensure that we hold them accountable for not following the due process. So that is a simple game. The game is we are interested in knowing the procedures and then how legal is it in the appointment in the allocation of those lands to those individuals. So if we find out correct, now we have given Gambians have given so that we hold them accountable for doing the wrong thing.
We are law-abiding citizens.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
I have two questions. My first question is, this issue is quite political. You mentioned it as the former president has also come out with recommendation and of course we've seen the election of the president's government as well. So say the opposition were to want to come and join the government. My second question is, are you aware that there is a question, parliamentary question, very similar to what you are requesting that the current Minister of Lands, Honorable has said that he will respond. It's a very similar question raised by one asking the government to give a list of lands allocated and parcels. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with the last one. The answer: we are not aware. One, we are not aware. But if that is definitely there, we are happy that it's coming because it is now going to bring light to what we wanted to hear, and that is now even going to help this committee in doing their work easy. Responding again to the brother who asked about if we found out that it was in a due process, my question was going to be surely how could the president, a vice president benefit from a state allocated land with hefty salaries, with good facilities, and every other thing, privileges that they have. With the monies that they had, can't they use it to buy their own lands? So definitely, Flex, for that question, my response will be, we will be very happy to know how that goes. One, because we are not aware. So yeah, my colleagues are also not aware, but we will be very happy to know how it goes, and it will also help us in following up this petition, because now we will now be able to know what next we are going to take in the other one. Again, Madi mentioned, coming to the being the ruling, being anybody who knows that this is of interest to you, you will be welcome to work with us. Because what we want transparency. Again, there are oppositions who are there whose hands are very clean in this thing. So if we so be distancing people who could even give us a valuable information. So to me, I think we will get each and every person who of this is interest to you. Like Madi said, we might be 3 of us here. We might not even be the people that are there, but there are people out there who are just interested to know the outcome of this petition.
Yeah. Right, thank you very much.
Any other question? Yeah?
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Final remarks. Yes. Yeah. So I think finally, what we would say is, which is not my opinion. One can go and check with government reports. There's so much corruption in this country, and corruption is a cancer. The poverty in this country, the poor services in this country, the lack of opportunities, the reason our young people want to cross the seas to go and see greener pastures somewhere else, and so on, are all, for me, coming out of that culture of corruption in this country, for which there is no accountability. Since 2017, one can see that only one public official was ever, put before a court and got convicted for corruption, but even there, pardoned, less than half of the time. Okay, we know 1 or 2 other cases against public officers are going in the courts. An anti-corruption commission is the failure, or the deliberate misconduct within the public sector in the way they manage public resources, in the way they carry out decisions and actions, and that is making citizens deprived, impoverished, and and all the difficulties that they face. And Gambia, especially when we talk about the new Gambia from 2017, we are not going to ensure sustainable development, opportunities for all, equal opportunities for all, ensure peace and stability in this country if we don't make sure that we bring transparency and accountability in the public sector. So this is about fighting corruption, fighting abuse of office, fighting abuse of power, to make sure that the rule of law is upheld and human rights are protected. Now, lands, as we said, are a national resource, and all Gambians deserve land in this country. So that if the state is supposed to give land, it has to be very, very set very clear terms, so that no one is disadvantaged and no one is unfairly advantaged. So this is the point, and we want all Gambians, to support this petition. We hope the National Assembly, we are calling on them to accept this petition. As we said, we did everything to meet they will do, and if they do accept it, we look forward to the inquiry and the recommendations or decisions they will make and the enforcement of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, we want to thank the press for joining us this afternoon, and also to every Gambian. Like Madi said, like my colleague said, this is a fight for every Gambian, and it is to ensure that we fight against corruption, we fight against mismanagement of state resources, and then to ensure we promote transparency in our governance system. We look forward to having the National Assembly accept this petition, and we will move it from there. In the meanwhile, we will keep you posted as we follow up and also continue to call on the demands in this petition to be answered and to be accepted. Thank you.